Hey guys, welcome to MVP Coach's Corner, where Bro Logic goes to die, covering nutrition, contest prep, PEDs, coaching, and living a lifestyle of bodybuilding. If you're just watching this video now, make sure you please like and subscribe, and turn your notifications for our next video. Hey guys, thank you for watching another episode of MVP Coach's Corner, where Bro Logic goes to die. Today we're going to be discussing meal timing and digestion. Hey guys, how are both of you doing this weekend?
Go first, Coleman.
Go first. Well, I came home to a nice clean room.
Yeah, until you threw your
That's always
clothes.
That's not on my bed.
Oh, that's your laundry.
That's my laundry.
His laundry has climbed to over his bed.
Oh, Jesus.
To be fair, it's like 3.5 feet tall.
Yeah,
I have been able to do laundry. I haven't had time.
This is true.
I've been busy. I've been very busy.
But you're welcome. How are you, Mark?
Other than that, it's been
I'm
good.
I am well. I'm well as I can be. So this morning before doing fasted cardio, I accidentally mixed up my two supplements I take in the morning.
Yeah.
One of them being GW, also known as Cardarin, and Pramipexole, which is a dopamine antagonist drug used for Parkinson's disease use to prevent like seizures and stuff. I use it to increase dopamine production. Anyway, I accidentally took a milliliter of that compared to the GW, and if you take too much of it, you feel extremely nauseous because your body's just pumping dopamine all day. So I feel great from a mood perspective, but I feel like the whole world's spinning. So it's not a pleasant day from that perspective. So getting meals down is going to be super interesting.
Ouch.
Ooh. Yeah,
How's
that's rough.
Cannoli?
Canoli's good. Canoli's also locked out of the room right now because she won't stop jumping on the table. She wants to. I don't know. She wants to be famous. Cannoli content.
We love it.
Yeah, definitely would go famous for that.
For sure. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about meal timing and digestion. So first, I think it'd be really important to talk about when it comes to digestion, what type of supplements you can use to enhance your digestion.
Yeah, totally. So like I know one of the things that we have pretty much all clients do is have some type of like morning beverage to kind of like start the digestion, almost like a jump start, right? And this could be made of a few things. One of the key fundamental things I definitely do normally use is some type of greens powder. Uh, let's all be really honest. Most of us don't eat enough greens each day. Just because, in essence, if we pretty much ate as much as we really should from a health-based perspective, the food volume would probably be terrible, right? Like, could you imagine eating like 200 grams of veggies per meal? Like that would, I'd be like bursting at the seams if I actually tried to do that, right? So getting a greens powder in is a good way to make that like a lot more simple. Also getting other fiber from it. Some of the ones now out there have like prebiotic fiber. They also have like probiotics in them too, like the Revive Daily Greens one. Axe and Sledge, their one as well, also has a probiotic in it. So you're kind of like attacking digestion from multiple standpoints, making it much easier to kind of start your day, get meals down, and have consistent bowel movements.
So, is there any food choices that would help you improve your digestion then? Like FODMAP.
Well, before we go there, Coleman, I know like I use a lot of products for you when it comes to digestion. Is there anything else that you would like to throw in there?
Glutamine in the morning, apple cider vinegar, lemon juice, aloe vera. There's a bunch of other things you can use. I mean, Project 80 just came out with Good Morning, which pretty much has a combination of all of those. So it kind of simplifies it even more. If you're really looking for if you're a busy person in the morning, you don't have enough time to weigh out 2 ounces of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, X amount of aloe vera, and glutamine, and then greens as well. You can literally just take 1 scoop of that, and be set and ready to go right there. Besides the greens, obviously, you have to put a scoop of greens with it.
Yeah. And not only in
Only
the
thing that they're
morning,
missing.
but you can also use, I mean, we use Ravenous also from Project AD, which is another supplement as a digestive enzyme.
For sure. And what, yeah, enzymes are super important, especially like for a lot of people, especially for the amount of protein a lot of us are eating per day. It's not really a normal amount, right? Like, let's just be very honest. The human body was not made to digest 300 grams of protein per day for a male. Like, it just wasn't. And like for women as well, eating like 160. Like, again, most people, that's too much for them to really handle. So using things like enzyme is super helpful. One of the reasons why I actually enjoy Ravenous is because it has ox bile in there. It's one of the few digestive enzymes I know that have ox bile in there, which is super helpful for the breakdown of fats as well as proteins. And if you definitely eat red meat and have red meat in your diet to some extent, you know that's a meal that digests a little slower. It can be a little heavier on you. So having an enzyme around that meal is always super helpful. My last meal, normally I actually have an enzyme with, because it also helps me have a good bowel movement the first thing in the morning when I do wake up. Especially because a lot of them do have like a stool softener in there as well.
Mm.
And to go back to the lemon juice in the morning with the ACV. So like one of the big reasons why we love using that is because the cool thing about the human body is it can actually convert the acids into a base. So even though citric acid is an acid outside of our body, when we actually ingest it, your body turns into a base, making your body's pH more alkaline again, which is where you kind of want it to be compared to being more acidic. And that's why even doing that cocktail, if you're someone who does have acid reflux, it can actually help calm it down a bit. Or even adding again like lemon juice into your water throughout the day, another little hack that can help balance out the pH of your gut.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So then what food choices can people make to improve their digestion after they have that supplementation?
Totally. So like I love like fermented foods. I know like not everyone enjoys fermented foods, but like it's a natural way to get probiotics in. Like this could be unpasteurized pickles. This could be like sauerkraut, which I love doing. Especially again, the key has to be unpasteurized. Um, Even like kimchi. Again, it's fermented cabbage with a bunch of Asian spices in there. It's absolutely delicious in my opinion. Or even things like yogurt, right? Having unpasteurized yogurt is also a great way to get more natural probiotics in. That's why I try to keep some type of dairy in a lot of people's plans for that one reason as well. Not only to have a good source of calcium, but also to have a natural probiotic found in like throughout the week.
Right. So there's also activities you can do other than just taking supplements or implementing greens, apple cider vinegar, and lemon juice. So we can actually walk after meals as well. So how
Yes,
long do you normally tell people to walk for after meals?
totally. So this is actually something I actually got from Stan Efferding. In Stan Efferding's book, The Vertical Diet, he talks about rhino walks, and that's what he calls them. And they're just like 10-minute power walks post meal. And they help you in multiple factors. One of them is aiding you with digestion. The other one is helping you, in essence, transport glucose more effectively. So when we are active or active enough, especially like again, like somewhat of a power walk, your GLUT4 receptor has the ability to now transport glucose because you're now being very active without the use of insulin, lowering blood sugar much more effectively. And in cool clinical studies, they've actually shown that doing this was as effective as metformin for type 2 diabetics. So if it works in a diabetic setting, it would definitely work in a healthy individual. And the cool thing about this is like Stan talks about, he's actually prepped clients by just making them walk post meal. So instead of he'll start them off by walking 10 minutes after 2 meals, and then 10 minutes after 3 meals, now 10 minutes after four, 10 minutes after five, now all 6 meals, you have a 10-minute walk after. So you have a total of 60 minutes of walking now each day. But just having your body process glucose that much more efficient actually help his clients stay in shape and get in shape a little quicker than what they normally would have. Now, obviously, it's not the only factor driving progress when it comes to a prep, but it's very interesting to see how effective just again post meal activity can aid with body recomp and digestion.
Right. So Coleman, I think we had a question. Somebody asked about meal timing. Do you want to bring that up?
So what about meal timing? About
Mhm.
how important it is and things like that?
Mhm.
So meal timing is important. So you have the constant influx of amino acids and things like that in your bloodstream, so you can constantly keep going instead of like being stagnant all day and people only eating 3 meals a day. So you have those what 4 to 6 hours where you're not eating all day, so you kind of put yourself into a catabolic state because you're not eating anything, and everything you're burning, you're really just muscle wasting at that point. So the more time that you have nutrients going into your bloodstream and like spiking and keeping your blood sugar kind of in a level range and things like that, it'll actually help you out a lot more. Mark, you want to elaborate?
Yeah, for sure. So one of the big reasons eating more frequently throughout the day is super helpful is because we don't pick and choose when your body's synthesizing protein when it comes to a muscle building perspective. It's somewhat at random, right? And we want to increase our chances at bat, so to speak. So the more time we eat throughout the days, the more time we have the ability to have, again, that stream of amino acids around that window where your body would actually synthesize protein going towards building muscle. Because again, it's not a 24-hour activity. Your body is not focusing on building new tissue 24/7. It's not. There's so many other things going on in your body that all the protein you eat is not going to one thing. And that's one of the big cool things about genetics, obviously, that there's some people who do synthesize protein at a better rate than other individuals as well. And more of it will go towards actually building new tissue. Now, going back to also frequent meal timing, the cool thing about that, or the reason why we do it, compared to having three bigger meals, is going back to glucose, right? So, if let's just say someone's carbohydrate intake was 600 grams per day, and someone only ate 3 meals per day, you're talking about 3 meals with 200 grams of carbs. Those would be pretty large meals to try to eat. And you can imagine how you'd possibly feel after eating 200 carbs in a sitting. You'd probably feel really energetic for a moment, and then you'd probably want to take a nap, so to speak. You probably have that little food coma. So that wouldn't
Oh
be
yeah.
an enjoyable thing at all. And then also, like, trying to get enough protein in each day is very difficult for a lot of people who have performance-based goals. Looking back to myself, my protein intake is 320 grams. So for me to space that over 3 meals, that'd be in essence like 103 grams of protein each meal. Like that would be insane trying to get that down. Like what that would do from a digestion standpoint would make me feel like absolute garbage. I wouldn't be productive at work. Again, I'd be trying to take a nap. And then going back to like we always say, like your body can only digest so much protein in a sitting. Obviously, like having 106 grams of protein, 103 grams of protein in a sitting is not super helpful for anyone's specific fitness goals. If the goal is to, hey, I want to focus on building more muscle. So again, like more frequent meal timing allows you to space those nutrients over the day over more meals. So we're helping us in several components, right? We're gonna have better energy because more frequent meal timing. Our digestion is gonna be more consistent because we're not having big, massive meals slowing digestion down. Also, we have more at bats, right? We're having more of a steady stream of amino acids throughout the day because we're eating protein sources throughout the whole entire day. Now, if you do just have like lifestyle based goals, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you're just like the average person trying to get in shape. Yeah, you can probably get away having 3 meals and a snack or something on the lines of that because your protein intake won't be as high because you're not someone who has, I guess, like bodybuilding based aspirations. Your performance levels or activity levels probably not as high as someone like us, so that your carbohydrate intake won't be as high, right? The food requirement will be much less, so it'll be easier to kind of possibly get those things over 3 meals. Because if you're someone who only eats like 1,600 calories or 1,800 calories, it may be harder for you to space that out over 5 meals, 6 meals. There'll be like snacks. There'll be poverty meals. They won't be too enjoyable. But having less meals at that time and condensing them may be more satiating for someone compared to, again, having a little bit of bird meals throughout the day.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So, I mean, going off of like lifestyle clients, I know a lot of them often when they come to us, they don't often eat breakfast first thing in the morning. So, what would you say to those people that hate eating breakfast in the morning?
Absolutely. So, like, one of the big things I try to stress to people is that an object in motion tends to stay in motion, right? And if you start eating throughout the day, your hunger cues will start coming more fast throughout the day, right? Because the person who typically only skips breakfast probably only eats 2 or 3 times throughout the day max, right? They're skipping breakfast and maybe having lunch and dinner. So they're only eating 2 meals. Now, if I expect someone to eat 5 meals a day, or expect someone to have 3 meals and 2 snacks, or something like that, there's no way they're physically going to get them in if they're not having their first meal until 11.
Mhm.
So I have no issue with someone waiting a little bit to eat as long as they get all their meals in, right? There's some people who are early risers and maybe the first few hours they're very active, so they don't eat. Like, for example, like in prep, I normally wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So my first like almost 2 hours are fasted between like waking up, getting everything ready for the day, cardio, all those things. Compared, so I don't really have breakfast for the first 2 hours I'm awake. So if someone wakes up at 8 a.m., they don't have breakfast till 10, or someone wakes up at 9 and have breakfast till 11, it's not the biggest deal. But the big thing is just you're not going to normally fit all your meals in each day if you're having breakfast or your first meal extremely late in the day. You're kind of starting with 1 foot behind you.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much tripping yourself over your own feet.
Yeah. You're setting yourself up to fail, right? You're starting off so late in the day that you're gonna have to literally stay up to eat, and you're not gonna want to do that.
So I feel like you know the answer to this, but what are your thoughts on intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so like I understand the concept and I get why people do it. And if someone's goal is specifically weight loss off a scale, and that is all, like by all means, it's something that someone could actually do. Because in essence, all you're doing is creating a caloric deficit by just limiting how many feedings you're having per day. And there are some cognitive benefits of fasting, right? Especially for people who do have like ADHD. So it is helpful for those people as well, again, from a cognitive perspective. So especially if you're someone who possibly is like, again, like an early riser, you're someone who wakes up really early. So for you, like it may be something that's advantageous because if you want to get a lot of work done earlier on in the day, and you're that type of person, by all means, it can be helpful from that perspective. Again, the goal has to be just weight loss off a scale for the most part, because like even like the studies they've done on this from a performance-based perspective, they showed that obviously fed workouts were more productive than fasted workouts, from a strength perspective and an endurance-based perspective. And so like you could imagine that doing a 16-hour fast and then trying to hit a PR maybe slightly more difficult, right? Even if you did have 1 meal directly before the workout, again, it's not really enough. And that's why like even with our clients right now who are going to be participating in Ramadan this upcoming month, having that fast throughout the day, granted they're waking up really early before sunrise to get a massive meal in, they are fasting a large duration of the day, breaking their fast with prayer, and then going to go work out. And all of our clients, and pretty much anyone during that period of time who doesn't adjust their sleep schedule, is going to have, in essence, like a month at the gym where they don't progress as much, where they kind of just stay the same. And in essence, if you can make any progress during that period of time, it's a big, massive fucking win. But there's people who actually, even during that period of time, will rotate their sleep schedule if their work allows it. So like they'll sleep during the day, they'll wake up just for their prayers, and they'll be awake all night. And so they can eat throughout the whole entire night because they can only eat. They can eat after it's sunrise to sunset is when they are fasting. So after sunset, they can eat all they want until sunrise the next day.
Mhm.
So they can adjust their sleep schedule to do that. But yeah, no, if the goal is strictly just loss over scale, you by all means you can do it. But if it's, hey, I want to get shredded and I want to get stronger, I want to build more tissue, absolutely not. Definitely not the route to go from any science-based perspective. The little surge of growth hormone you're going to get from fasting in the morning is not going to be comparable to the missing out of mTOR from frequent feedings. And again, more at bats from a feeding-based perspective, having the steady stream of amino acids in your bloodstream, allowing you to assist you with repair.
Right. So people, do you have anybody prepping during Ramadan, or they're about to go into prep? How do you handle that?
About to go into prep, we have
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, and for them it's going to be it's a little different, right? And it's kind of different how I structure food, but we have to look how digestion works. This is why it actually is probably a perfect time to talk about this. And so, like, I'll use one of our clients. He's starting his day with an 8-ounce steak. He's having 2 whole eggs with that. He's also having 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter with that meal, and he's also having 50 grams of whey protein as well. There's absolutely actually no carbs in that meal. So I'll talk about this for several reasons. So if you notice, there's a lot of fat in that meal. Between the steak, you're having 2 tablespoons of grass-fed butter, and you're also having whole eggs. So talking about like 50 plus grams of fat for this meal, and this is to slow down digestion, right? He's not eating again until sunset, which is roughly around 6:30 p.m. is when it started. Is now it'll change obviously as the month progresses. It's a pretty long time to go without food. So he's having a lot of protein with that meal, way more protein he would normally have in a sitting. The reason is for this because the fats are going to slow down the digestion of the protein, right? He's going to get the instant digestion of the whey protein to help him, since he, again, has slept the whole entire night. And he's going to get the protein also from the steak and eggs. They're going to digest at a slower rate because of all the extra fat in that meal. Also, the reason for no carbs for this meal is because obviously if you have a bunch of carbs in the morning and you're going to fast all these hours, you're going to feel like shit from a blood sugar perspective. Because if I give someone, say, 100, 200 grams of carbs initially, there's going to be that big spike and then a massive fall off. And they're not going to feel great. So I'd rather, in essence, through the month of Ramadan, in essence, have people, in essence, do almost like carnivore in the morning, right? It just, hey, it's just proteins, it's red meat proteins, it's eggs, it's fat and butter, or we can use ghee, we can use duck fat. Granted, if you're someone who doesn't want to do that, we can use like more so like avocado and other sources of EFAs. My vegetarians who are also participating in this are having massive omelets in the morning as well. Like they're having like 8 egg omelets, cooked in butter with cheese. Like they're having a blast with it. But when it goes to the breaking the fast for them, since none are in prep, they're going to start prep soon, but none are actively in prep right now. In essence, the way they're breaking the fast is very similar to how they, in essence, kind of ended their day or started their day. They're having a fast digesting protein initially, so they're having some type of whey. But they're also going to have their dates and honey or naan or some traditional carb that they'll be eating anyway. So I gave all our clients gave them all dates. Dates are traditional dried fruit that's normally eaten to break your fast in Ramadan. So I kind of kept that in. Again, it's just fructose, so it's no big deal. It's something that's easily can be tracked and calculated. So there's no reason to make them miss out on something that's, again, enjoyable and cultural for them. And then they're gonna work out. The post-workout meal, instead of it being a shake, so they've had shakes already throughout the day, is going to be something much more satiating. So I'll give them some type of white meat with a normal carb source like rice or gluten-free pasta, or even give them more naan or roti, one of those things. And then for the last meal, it's gonna be very similar to breakfast. It's gonna be a red meat with some eggs, or it's gonna be a salmon with some eggs. It's gonna be, again, a fatty meat with more with more fat too, right? Again, going back to they fasted the whole entire day. We're trying to get all these calories in close to what they're at before. Trying to get all those calories in that short window, and carbohydrates would be near impossible, and you'd feel like garbage. So getting those same calories in through fat is much easier. And again, since they're not eating throughout the day, having a slower source of energy is much more advantageous for them.
Right. Especially like, yeah, at night going into the morning too. So we also had somebody write in about an anabolic window, and they wanted to know if it's real and if it's important.
So Coleman, I know that like when you first started lifting, everyone probably was like, "Hey man, you gotta pound that shake the first 30 minutes after the gym, or you're gonna miss your anabolic window. Your workout was for nothing."
Actually, you'd be surprised. No one ever told me about an anabolic window when I first started lifting.
I used to hear that all the time.
Back when I was like 13, 14, like never heard
I heard
that.
it more in college. when I
Yeah,
was in college.
right. So I remember when I first started working at GNC, right? So like I first started working at GNC when I was 17, and I remember them teaching us about it, and it was just something that everyone talked about everywhere, right? It was like, oh,
Mhm.
it's the crucial 30-minute window of following exercise where your muscles are craving nutrients, you need to feed them immediately. In essence, it was a gimmick to make people buy protein shakes, right? Because in
Yeah.
essence, oh, chicken digests too slow, beef digests too slow. The only thing it can digest quick enough is going to be whey. Um, yes, is way easier to get down post workout, 100%, right? Because drinking something is normally faster than eating something, right? Um, Also, after your workout, you're not always the hungriest person, especially if you train really hard. You're sometimes kind of nauseous, right? Like if you had
Mhm.
to eat like again like to get the same amount of protein, eat like 8 ounces of chicken and like 500 grams of rice post workout, like you wouldn't be the happiest camper. Like especially after a leg day, you'd want to probably toss some cookies,
Definitely toss some cookies.
right? So
Yeah, I felt
it
that
was
one
Yeah,
more of
Coleman
yesterday.
knows what that means.
I felt
now you
that
know.
yesterday.
Oh yeah, I
I
almost threw up
felt
yesterday too.
Hmm. Same, same.
I
But
walked to the
like
bathroom because I thought I was about to.
But going back to the anabolic window, so like, no, it's not super crucial to eat within the 30 minutes after your workout. But like, you should be eating post workout, right? Like we're talking about, for eating 5 or 6 meals a day, spacing them all out. If you're waiting a longer period to eat post workout, you're kind of delaying that, right? You probably ate like maybe 60 minutes before the gym, so your workout was probably 2 hours long. So now like 2.5, 3 hours without eating, it's time for you to eat now, right? Um, the other big thing is this too, like eating directly post workout. I mean, I've seen people literally after the workout, like drink or shake in their thing and then go on the treadmill, right? And like there's a thing called your parasympathetic nervous system, right? When you are working out, your body's under physical stress. And then you can actually physically measure this, right? When stress is a little elevated, blood sugar is a little elevated, even though you're working out, it would be in a lower stance, right? And if you check your blood sugar directly when you finish your workout, you finish your last set, sit down, check your blood sugar, you'll probably notice it's a little more elevated. It's probably like in the higher 90s for someone who hasn't eaten in 3 hours. If you wait like 30 minutes and like you stretch and roll out and relax and calm down, you check it again, it'll be like 10 to 15 points lower. And that's because your parasympathetic nervous system is relaxing and calming down. When your parasympathetic nervous system is elevated, your body's not focusing on anything with feeding at all or digesting. It's not a priority. Your body was just under stress, right? So like, let's talk about like when your body's in fight or flight. When your body's in fight or flight, the last thing it cares about is for your fucking hunger. It gives zero fucks, right? Like when you are stressed, your appetite goes to shit, and this is what happens because the only thing that matters is getting out or fighting, right? Those are the only two things. So ingesting a shake directly after you finish your lifting and going to cardio is not advantageous for you. Your body's still under stress. Go do your cardio, relax, calm down throughout it. Like obviously, if you're in prep, like your cardio should be intense, so like don't calm down throughout it, I guess in that perspective. But work your ass off, and then when you get in your car and start driving home, when you start calming down, then you can actually have your shake or whatever your post workout is. But trying to pound it the second you finish your workout and then go on the treadmill is not advantageous for anyone.
I feel like I would also just throw up from that too.
Yeah, we're not happy about that.
No, not
I like
no.
drinking my post workout. It's pretty. I go for
Yeah, but
efficiency.
not right after you train.
Oh no, probably like 30 minutes after until like I'm like fully not nauseous anymore.
Yeah, you blend your Rice Krispies. It's disgusting.
Yes, I do.
And the man's efficient. He's saving time. Do you also brush your teeth in the
For
shower?
what?
Yes, I do actually.
All right.
I started doing that when I was younger because I was always late to school regardless. But I was like, all right, maybe if I can cut out a little bit of time, I might be on time one day. Never happened.
You
It
know,
never happened.
I get soap in my mouth because I wash my beard in the shower, so it doesn't really help for me. I've tried.
Well,
I get
that's why you got to do it.
erythroid.
You do it first thing. You do it the first thing you get into the shower. You brush your teeth, and
How long is the
then
shower, Coleman?
5-10 minutes max.
Because like I'm spot washing. It's armpit, genital area, butt cheeks, and then I'm out. That's and beard.
It's like 10 minutes. That's like a 10-minute shower right there.
He's in there.
You know,
He sings a little
Scrub,
bit.
scrub, down, down, up, up,
I'm not.
circles, ass, and then you're done.
Head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Got it.
Yeah.
Pretty
No,
much.
that's literally what he
Oh,
sings in the shower.
and then don't forget your
Head,
back.
shoulders, knees, and no, fuck
You
it,
can't reach it.
I can't. No, that's why I have a scrubby thing. I gotta get a new one. It's a little rough.
You have to get the one that has two sides, like it's like a.
I can't
like a
find
fabric
that.
one.
Yeah, I can't find it. What's
Bed
it
Bath
called?
Beyond, bro. Bed Bath Beyond. It's like a.
I don't have one by me. They went out of business.
I have one by me.
Go online.
They were getting rough. I
Yeah.
know. I can't find it online.
I will Amazon
Amazon it.
this. What if you can't find something on Amazon now? You have a learning disability. Like everything on Amazon is able to be found by anyone. Like you could type in like purple dildo warriors, and you would find purple dildo warriors, and there'd be little gnomes with swords with dildo heads.
I mean, I don't doubt that.
Have you searched this before?
I have not, but I'm going.
Okay.
But after this is done, I'm searching on Amazon. And I'm gonna buy it. I'm gonna mail it to both of you.
My
Your
mom's
mom's
gonna be like, what?
She'd be
Well,
so
technically,
confused.
It wasn't me, I
to-
swear.
You're gonna have to send it to the same address because Bree's gonna be moving in.
Shortly.
That is true.
In like a month. Let's talk about pre-workout and what you like to put in for that, and kind of how soon we suggest you eat that before you train, just for your digestion.
Yeah, so I like to keep it as simple as possible, right? And like I normally like to stick with things like white rice or cream of rice, just because rice by itself is naturally hyperallergenic, right? So no one's gonna normally have any type of bloating or any type of reaction when it comes to those basic carbs. So it's kind of a safe bet for most people. Rice is already known to being digesting quicker, right, than most carbs. And all we look at cream of rice is all it is refined, in essence, processed rice. That's all it really is. So again, it just digests even quicker. So something that's light on the stomach that your body can really break down. So you're not walking to the gym with your stomach still full of food.
Right.
Then I also like to do some type of fast digesting protein. A lot of time this would be something like a whey protein, an egg white in some cases. Someone doesn't want to do whey. And if someone's opposed to both of those, then we'll lean on more so of an animal protein like chicken. Then we normally will pair this with some type of fat. So this may be like some nut butter. This may be like some almonds. Something on the lines of that. I like sticking with things that are pretty simple and people actually generally enjoy. Because like if you kind of hate all your food, it doesn't make the process fun at all. And like I like to then make the things pre and post workout kind of more enjoyable because it's almost like a rewards based system. Hey, I get to eat this if I go to the gym. And something I actually took from coaching Gen Pop people and just kind of rolled it over to what I do with competitors. Because like for most of us, we generally enjoy cream of rice with like a chocolate whey protein and nut butter. It's kind of like a dessert, especially if you get really good at making cream of rice. It's super enjoyable. And like if you use brands like Flavor Gang and use like the Bowl of Gains product, like the chocolate brownie one is phenomenal, especially if you like actually use and follow the instructions correctly. Like you get that cool like crust on the outside, and you can use things like Professor Nuts and you can fill it on top of it, and it's literally like a dessert. Like I can't call it anything else but that. And if you don't enjoy that, like you're a fucking crazy person. I'm sorry.
Exactly. And then I think it would also be really important for us to touch on how we structure someone's last meal for not only digestion but satiation as well.
Yeah. So like we've all know people who like to binge at night, right? Or eat shoot food at night. Like if none of us had a structured plan, like wouldn't you guys snack at night?
Oh, probably.
Yeah,
I mean, my
well,
family does, so probably.
well, I know I would. Like
I might fuck around with a box of Samoas or something.
yeah, right. Like
Or two.
Maybe two. Maybe two.
it's that boredom hunger, right? Like at 8, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., like there's not much to do. You're just, in essence, being a potato in most cases, right? You're watching Netflix, you're playing video games, you're scrolling through TikTok, you're doing some bullshit, right? using your brain. Like you're kind of bored. So like going to grab and munch on something is just natural for a lot of people, especially like Gen Pop people too, right? Because they get in a habit of following an actual meal plan very far into them.
Right.
But when it comes to the last meal to obviously keep hunger at bay, make people feel much more satiated, I'll do a fattier meal. A large portion of the fat will be at night because I want to hold them over, right? Fat's one of the most satiating macros that we can have, especially fats with protein. So I normally like giving people a red meat meal at night. So in a lot of cases, it's normally either like a steak, a ground beef. If someone's a hunter, I'll let them do like venison. Or if someone doesn't like red meat, normally try to challenge them on that. But if they really don't want to eat red meat, I'll have them do like a salmon, cases like that. And some other reasons that are exceptions, I'll have people do like a higher fat, like ground turkey or something along the lines of that. Or my vegetarians who are willing to do eggs, I'll have them do eggs and they'll make a big omelet before they go to bed. Just again, going with the proteins paired with the fat, being much more satiated, it'll help kill those cravings that someone might have at night. And because like if you can stay full until you fall asleep, you're not gonna really munch on bullshit, right? But if you're hungry and kind of ravenous while watching Netflix, you know what? That cabinet that has a bunch of snacks in it looks much more appealing than it ever has.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So, I want to talk about gut issues in prep and constipation. We had some stories about that.
Yeah, and I think it's like everyone, dude. Like I know very few people who don't get somewhat backed up on the line of prep, and it's a combination, obviously, being stressed. Like your water intake is normally higher, so you're flushing through electrolytes a lot faster. Food is now lower, so like less dietary fiber just happens to be ingested. Less food volume in general kind of slows down digestion because less food just moving through you. Especially like if you did have vegetables, maybe they're at a lower portion now too. There's so many factors that really affect digestion at the end of the game. Um, I know it's something I've always battled with. A lot of my friends battled with. I know Coleman, you had an issue with it before too at one point. Definitely not an enjoyable process at all. Uh,
No.
and especially like being a male, right? Like we need to eat a lot of food to fill out in some cases. So like walking on stage with a poop baby is not really acceptable, right? Like you can't really vacuum up with this massive poop baby on stage.
You can do it with 30 English muffins, apparently.
You apparently can. Well, I'm happy we know that you actually have a gluten intolerance now, so like that's never fucking happening ever again.
Well, we didn't look bloated that day.
We
So,
did. But there's one thing that we actually started utilizing actually this year, and actually like trace minerals, right? And trace minerals is a product to a vitamin shop, and all it is a very aggressive electrolyte droplet. It's magnesium, sodium, potassium, phosphorus, and it's all at extremely high dosage. It's actually a lot of magnesium in there, and obviously we all know magnesium citrate helps with obviously flushing people out as a laxative, but it's not citrate in there. So you don't have to worry about the bloating that can come along with it because drinking a bunch of magnesium citrate can help disrupt our electrolyte balance a little bit. It can move water around from the subcutaneous to the visceral, which you really don't want, right? I mean, my apologies. From the extracellular, from the intracellular to the extracellular, we don't because we want to again peel off that film of water. But using minerals actually is one thing that I've used to help because if you think about it, I know one thing I do with my clients when it comes to peaking them is I do push water really, really high, and then we eventually like taper it down, right? So we're thinking about this person's now drinking 2 gallons a day. They're pushing a lot more sodium, a lot more potassium, a lot more magnesium, all these out of our body every single day because they're urinating more frequently. So we're in essence dehydrating ourselves of minerals by drinking more water. That's what's happening. And we're not replacing them at an adequate amount because we're not eating more food, right? We're eating less food than we ever have. And granted, we look at like what we're eating rice and chicken right now, right? Like we're not getting these things from rice and chicken. Like it's not happening. So like we have to replace these minerals. And I've noticed that actually implementing trace minerals along the peaking process actually stopped the constipation from happening and kept people going to the bathroom along the whole entire time, preventing that situation from happening in the first place. Because once you get constipated at the end, it's kind of like, oh fuck, what do I do now? Do I take a laxative? Do I try to just like wait it out? Try to drink more coffee? Like what can I fucking do to move this along?
Right. What about pooping on show day? Because that was an issue for me.
Yeah, and going back to it, right? Like normally water consumption is very low on show day, or if any, for some people.
Right.
We've had some competitors, they're very lucky, so they got more water on show day. We've had some that had very little. Gotta base how some people respond, but unfortunately, a lot of those who don't get any on show day will deal with a little bit of constipation show day. And like I even say myself, I don't know if it's constipation actually due to anything else besides nerves for me. Uh, I just feel like just a nervous thing my body does. Like, hey, we're not shitting for anyone today. Not happening. I think I've only shit at one show ever. I don't know if that's an accolade or anything. But it's definitely a challenge, and also like being dehydrated, right? Like you're not drinking a bunch of water that day. Food content that day may be very low to maintain a look too. Um, and normal like your normal supplements or you're having each day, you may not be having that day, right? Like if you're having like a greens powder in the morning and all the other cocktails, you're normally not having it on show day, right? Because you normally wake up at the look you already want to maintain. You don't plan on eating a bunch of food. It's not a normal day. You're not training, so it's hey, let's try to maintain this by at least a little amount of variables as possible. So some things may be a little different.
And they taste terrible.
Oh, the trace minerals?
Oh, they taste so bad.
Yeah.
They taste so bad. Oh, dude, that was the worst thing.
Thank you, Rain Man.
That was the worst thing I ever had to have.
Yeah, no, they're absolutely terrible. They so anyone again going back to what trace minerals are. So again, this blend of minerals in a liquid dropper. They sell it at Vitamin Shop. But it tastes like the saltiest sea water that you've ever had in your life. Like it's like bottom of the sea water. I imagine it's what a bay tastes like if you drank water from a bay.
Yeah, like yucky, just not.
Yeah.
Yeah, seaweed.
Yeah.
Seaweed, dead bodies.
Dead bodies. But is it like it's just like one drop or a couple drops?
So it's 3 droplets. But it's 2 teaspoons of it, and the teaspoon.
Yeah. Let's make this accurate because it was
like
not 3 droplets.
This little.
It was not just a little shot.
We measured it out in 2 teaspoons, but it's horrendous.
Oh, yeah. I think I gagged every single time.
Yeah.
Every time you said that I had to do it, I was like, damn. I was like, one of these times I'm not gonna have to do it. Yeah, no, and especially when it comes to like show day, and show day too, you had me do it, and
yeah, and we pooped all day.
Yeah, we almost missed the stage because of it.
Yeah, we pooped all day. Steady pooping.
Steady pooping. Love it.
That's gonna be a
Well, I got
shirt.
to drink.
Steady pooping.
Okay, now he's making a shirt.
I was having a good time. I was eating burgers and having Dr. Pepper all day.
Yep. Burgers, Dr. Pepper, and poops. Love it. But maybe the secret for you was In-N-Out burgers. Maybe In-N-Outs is what made you poop. All the grease.
Yeah.
That could be it.
It was like a slip and slide coming out.
It wasn't like a slip and slide coming out, I'll be honest.
And people are shutting off the podcast now because they're going to vomit.
It wasn't that accurate.
I'm sorry, just the visual I have right now is just terrible.
Just imagine the smell of stage 10 and then you're only eating burgers for 3 days.
Hot stuff, stage 10, diarrhea. Great.
Well, it wasn't that. No, it was solid.
It was solid.
It was solid the whole time.
I'm proud of you. I don't know if you're proud of you or not, but I'm proud of you.
Fist bump.
All right.
Let's talk about FODMAP.
Yeah. So when it comes to vegetables, I'm not saying I'm super anal when it comes to vegetable choice. But but I definitely like to use more low FODMAP foods. And so, like, for those who don't know what a FODMAP is a mapping system that the community of gastroenterologists has created, and it, in essence, ranks food by the digestibility to an extent, right? And it was invented for people who have things like diverticulitis, colitis, IBS, people who have digestive issues, right? And I kind of base the concept is that digestive issues is more like a spectrum compared to an actual like hard and fast thing. It's not like you have it or you don't have it. There's certain things that people just don't digest well, or if they eat too frequently, they have problems. That's normally how things work. So I'll give an example. Like if something's ranked very high on the FODMAP, it's a food that's normally high in things like fructans, which would cause irritation to someone's gut, right? So like I'll use an example. Like broccoli is high on the FODMAP, right? And like I'm sure we've all used broccoli when it's come to some meal plan to some extent, especially when we were first got into like this lifestyle, like chicken and broccoli, right? Or chicken rice and broccoli, like this fucking staple, right? But I'm sure we've all noticed that broccoli makes most of us gassy, right? And we just write it off as, hey, broccoli makes me gassy. Like, no one's like, hey, broccoli makes me gassy. I probably shouldn't fucking eat broccoli, right? Like, that's never the solution. It's like, hey, like, this is what it does. Like, no, like, okay, like, let me eat something that digests more efficiently, right? So we look at the green beans and spinach and zucchini and squash and bok choy. Like these are things that we could use as greens, like even peppers, like things like that as a vegetable compared to leaning on some of the other things. Same things like asparagus. Like asparagus is sometimes just thrown in near the end during peak week, and I look at it from many different ways. If someone's never eaten asparagus the whole entire time with you, throwing in asparagus these last few weeks is kind of an additional variable I'm throwing into a prep scenario, which I didn't have before. Especially like digestion is definitely a very important factor when it comes to peaking someone. Not only from a obviously a bloating based standpoint, but like even how our body moves water, right? We reabsorb water in our large intestine. So like if we're having irritation going on, like this may disrupt that process slightly. So like, again, I keep foods low FODMAP for all my clients through all their plans, and in some cases, people will stray from that and eat other things. And normally they're like, "Oh, hey Mark, I'm like my stomach's bothering me again." I'm like, "What vegetables are you using?" And they're like, "Oh, well, I'm using broccoli again." I'm like, "Oh, well, just stop fucking eating broccoli and let's see what happens." And normally the problem resolves itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was a big time broccoli eater. That's bad.
I love broccoli so much, though, bro.
I did it for 5 years straight.
Yeah, in my plan, you still have no broccoli, no broccoli, no broccoli.
That was actually my idea because we kept having people do it, so it became a staple thing that we wrote.
Yeah, no brock.
So we didn't have to deal with telling people every other day, "Hey, stop eating broccoli."
Well,
Like you're just
I
ruining.
will say it's probably for me like one of the most enjoyable vegetables to eat by itself, right? By
Oh
itself.
yeah.
I probably would never have a bowl of just fucking peppers. Like I probably wouldn't fucking do that, right? And well, it depends, right? But like I fucking love long hots. Like I fucking love long hots. Like my my best friend is Bruce. His family makes like this long hot thing. They take long hots and they stuff them with pepperoni for Thanksgiving, and they just bake them in olive oil, and they're fucking delicious. So like I can just roast long hot peppers and eat those, but like just a bowl of green bell peppers. I don't know. I couldn't just go to town on that.
I used to snack on peppers in college.
Really?
And as a kid, my grandma had a garden and she would grow all these vegetables. So we'd snack on just vegetables and like green beans. So like we'd swim in the pool and eat green beans. That was a core memory. Just
Tell me
raw
your
green beans.
Yeah. Tell me you're a WAP, and not don't tell me that you're a WAP. Please tell me you know what being a WAP is.
She doesn't know.
So, a WAP is a derogatory word for Italian immigrants that was invented during the Great Depression. Um, But yes, my grandmother was the
Yeah,
same exact
please.
way. Had a big garden. It mostly was literally peppers and tomatoes,
Mhm.
um, and like fresh herbs like basil and parsley. 'Cause there was anything she would use that to make sauce and shit. That's all it was. It was like, okay, tomatoes,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sauce. I got green bell peppers, and I also had the little cherry peppers because she used to stuff them with sausage and breadcrumbs. And those were like the three things that she grew. So yeah, like just outside is eating peppers or eating tomatoes. Like
Mhm.
buy it like an apple, you bite it, you put a little salt on it. You bite it, you put a little salt on it.
Yeah.
Still don't like tomatoes.
You don't-
Tomatoes, avocado, pizza, French fries. Jesus Christ, Coleman.
French fries aren't that bad.
He just doesn't
Are
like he
that
doesn't like
bad?
ketchup. He doesn't like
I
ketchup.
hate ketchup. I hate ketchup. I
Half our
almost gagged when
podcast
Potato
doesn't think you're
fries.
human.
probably. I think I was made in a lab. It would explain a lot.
But hey, thank you guys for watching Coach's Corner today. Again, covering digestion and nutrition timing. If you don't follow our page already, please follow and like us on Instagram and YouTube. If you have a question about our coaching program or anything that you heard about today, feel free to message any of us here. Until next time, guys, take care.